today because this is a demanding circuit. Two massive DRS zones enable the drivers to have plenty of overtaking opportunity, and there are 15 turns to check them out to see what they're capable of doing. Let's have a look at the championship standings. This particular stage of the previous round, Elmo took the championship lead with 162 points over Rico on 157 and V-Dux on 100. Then we go back to Otens and Hickey Cat jumping up the pecking order with 72 points and plenty to prove this weekend. Let's go racing. Let's away we go, pedal to the metal for these Octane Warriors. Looks like everybody getting away cleanly. V-Dux from pole position, leading down to turn one. Hickey Cat, last round winner, up into second spot. Then the Viking, Val, Rico, Otens, Elmo. Further back, our championship leader, struggling at the moment back there in seventh, but may have a strategy to play with. Cato, good start from him as well. Deku, Gares, the Aussie dude, DJ Millsy and Drix rounding out the field. It looks like they're in a bit of a battle further back in the field too. Riding around with Rico at the moment, the man who lost the championship lead at the end of the previous round. We've been looking to make amends here today in no small way, you can guarantee that. Otens under pressure as the current championship leader, Elmo, is all over the back of that McLaren, sitting right behind this car. Out in front, a nice go by V-Dux, 0.8 of a second lead on this opening lap. He's given himself breathing space, and Hickey Cat's going with him and leaving the Viking back there 0.6 of a second behind. You can see Otens has managed to find a little bit of temperature in those medium tyres now and starting to give himself a little bit of breathing space from the soft tyre runner of Elmo. He's right up behind Rico at the moment and wants to try and get past. A big shout out to Rico too, because the vision you're looking at the moment is his. As you may remember, there was a slight technical issue with bringing you the live stream, so this race has been post-produced today, and Rico was very kind and was able to give me his data file so we could bring you the first part of this race, which we unfortunately missed, so a big shout out for him as well. No change in positions at the moment. Everything reasonably steady. Looks like the Aussie dude may have picked up a couple of spots, so he's trying to work his way forward. A man who's starting to come into his own as a driver in this series. Drix right up behind DJ Millsy, and Gears rounding out the back of the pack, which is a bit of a surprise to see Gears back so far, sitting back there 2.8 seconds off last spot. Second lap almost done, third lap about to be set sights on, and Elmo once again up behind the McLaren of Otens. Those two in a great little battle on these opening laps. Rico able to just concentrate on keeping his tyres clean and bringing them right up to operating temperature. Driving a pretty smart race at the moment, as is V-Dux. He's got half a second lead, but DRS about to open now, and that will open the door for both Hickey Cat and the Viking sitting back there in third spot. So far, no safety cars, no major incidents, which is great to see from the Schumacher series. A series I've got to tell you that I've absolutely enjoyed standing in for. I'm a Smoke Machine. This has been so enthralling. Down the main straight they come to complete lap number 3. Fastest lap, a 1:32.96. So the speed starting to come down, as does the fuel load. Looking back at Gears at the moment towards the back of the pack, trying to bridge this gap. He's on the hard tyres here, so those tyres are going to come into his own. You wouldn't want to ride him off at this stage of the game. There's Deku in a battle with Cato up in front, and right behind him DJ Millsy, his teammate, keeping him very honest at the moment. It's on a bit of a charge, just 0.4 of a second behind Deku. Oh, big spin in the background. I think that was the Aussie dude that we may have seen let go. Yes, it was. On the exit of the turn, just getting the power on and getting loose on those medium tyres. And as you can see, the tyres very hot at the moment as he tries to bring the power down and get that car moving again. We'll have to be careful through the next couple of turns. Otens Under pressure from Elmo. Down through the tight, twisty section of the track. So far, Elmo on those softs, really making them work. We're on lap 3 at the moment. They'll be right up to temperature. Theoretically, he should have more grip than Oden's up in front, but it depends how many laps he's been able to do on those tyres during qualifying, which we missed out on. Race trim-wise, it's 2 laps apiece. He's right in the slipstream now. What can he do? Down towards turn number 1 they come. No change up front. Vidux, Hickey Cat, the Viking, all sitting in the same positions they were, and they've pulled out a bit of a gap on Val, who's on those medium tyres, who'll be desperately trying to hang on to that DRS range, on board with the Viking, making his way around the track. We're bringing up their telemetry now. I mean, some crew don't like the telemetry coming up, but from the onboard shot you can see the DRS anyway, so, and the ERS, so why not? Why not? Rico goes forward. He's got around Val. Now sets his sights on the Viking. There's Val on screen at the moment, the quiet achiever. A man who not only loves his formula racing, I don't want to give too much away about him because it's his own private life, but I know for a fact that he's in the top echelons of another sport that he's involved in, and much luck to you, my friend, much luck to you. Hope everything goes according to plan. He'll know what I mean, and it's up to him to disclose that. Cato, who, if you haven't caught up with, Cato 91 on Twitch TV. Cato 91 on Twitch TV. If you'd like to watch these races live from Cato's point of view, he's a cool dude. He is such a cool dude. Love the tats, Cato. Envious, envious. We complete lap number 5 of 27 around the Paul Ricard circuit. 5 of these drivers wrote to me between rounds saying that they felt that they had the measure of this track and could potentially take out a race win, which is extraordinary because there's only one spot on the top of the dice. There's going to be 5 of them battling it out. Now, I dare say a few more might come into the equation as well. Down the back straight, DRS wide open. Hickey Cat trying to bridge that gap to Vidux. You get a feeling that Hickey Cat is just being patient at the moment. He's got 65% on his ERS. He's just staying in that DRS range and just seeing how things play out. So too the Viking. I've said it before and I'll say it again. He's a wily character. He's got great race strategies. Love watching him race. Rico is getting on with it. He's closing the gap. He's almost within DRS range now of the Viking, the 2 teammates. And he's bringing Val, Odens and Elmo along into this battle as well. So we're about to see a 7, maybe 8 car DRS train on lap number 5 here of round 18. Rico trying to bridge that gap. Yes, he is in DRS range now. A man who's had 35 podiums in this class and said he's not done. There's ominous signs. Hickey Cat unable to find a way past or choosing not to. One of the two. Certainly in a commanding position at the moment. The Viking not letting him go either. Driving a great race. And Rico now into this DRS train, and the DRS train goes all the way back to 7th spot. So the stage is set to see who's going to blink first. Front 3 drivers on soft, the next 3 on medium, then a mixture. Elmo, as the battle for the race lead goes on. Hickey Cat takes the race lead, sits down there in 6th in the championship after a win at the previous round and wants to continue this winning way. And he's had enough of sitting behind Vidux. Stands on the gas now, not using any ERS, so he's being quite calculative about it. Sure, he'll be spamming it as we come down the start-finish straight. There's Vidux on board the Williams, having a stellar season as well too. I don't think he'd be disappointed with his results so far this year. And Rico sitting right behind the Viking, then Val. Deku out there on the hard tyres is the first of the alternate strategies. 20 different strategies here. And he's trying to make them count. Drix has gone for the hards. He's got 5-lap old hards, so he made a pit stop, so too Gears. And now we see the Viking making his way into the pits. The first to blink of the soft runners up front. What does he go for? Hards, mediums, softs? Mediums is the answer. Comes back out onto the track. He's chosen the mediums. They won't go to the end, so he needs another pit stop. And that opens up the door for Rico to move up into third, just 0.3 of a second behind V-Dux. Then Val, Odins, Elmo up into sixth. Deku, the quiet achiever of this race so far. In seventh, DJ Millsy finds his way in eighths on those 6-lap old softs. As Rico goes side by side with V-Dux, moves forward into second on those mediums. They're starting to come into their own now as the softs start to feel the pressure. And he'll slowly make his way up behind Hickey Cat. And the top two in the championship will be head-to-head. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I might be a sadist, but, you know. So much easier sitting in a commentary box than driving. The decisions are so much easier to make. Down through the final turn they come. Bit of a breathing space of a half a second there from Hickey Cat, but Rico will have DRS, and right behind him, Val having a big look at the back of V-Dux as well. Looks to the inside. Does he try for it? Looks like he's going to. No, backs out of it at the last moment. But he's getting racy. So too Odins. He's been dragged into this battle. 52% ERS. Dabs the brakes through the left-hander. He's in a beautiful position to pounce, but it all depends on Val. How clean a run does he get? If he gets a clean run, there's not much you can do in a DRS train. And V-Dux is not going to get DRS. He's going to be a victim as the battle with Rico and Hickey Cat up front is on in earnest. And Rico has gone forward, takes the race lead away from Hickey Cat. Val couldn't find a way past. Odin sitting there waiting to pounce. Elmo staying well in contention, and then there's a decent gap back to Deku, who's got those 7-lap old hard tyres. He's got DJ Millsy all over him, being dragged into this race. A good ploy there by DJ Millsy. Don't waste your softs. They're getting old. Just try and stay in the DRS train and hope and pray that the guy in front can drag you into this battle. Great three-way dice going on here for third, fourth and fifth. And sixth for that matter. And seventh. Not quite seventh. There comes Deco onto the start-finish straight now. The two Hasses, nose to tail. Down into the braking area of turn one. Still no positional change, but you get the feeling that Val wants to get on with it. Opens, looks like he's saving ERS. Fell just a little bit off the back of that battle, but was able to close up. So, dare say he's running a tactful race. DJ Millsy looks like he's just fallen out of the DRS range of Deku. Cato right behind him, then Gez, Drix, the Viking on those mediums, started to work his way forward. And the Aussie dude after that spin 2 laps ago is whacked on the hard tyres, so his race is not done by any stretch of the imagination. Rico has pulled out a 1.5 second gap now off Hickey Cat, who's struggling on those softs. He's going to stick to his race plan. V-Dux still within DRS range of him. Then this enthralling battle up the inside. Looks Odins doesn't make a way past. Had to back out of it. Was worried about his front wing. I can appreciate that. They dive to the pits. So they've blinked. First of all, it's going to be a Hickey Cat into the pits. V-Dux and penalties. Odins Looks like he's going to pick up a penalty for speeding in pit lane. And Cato has also got a penalty as well. He goes up into 7th. That wasn't for pit lane, so it must have been track limits. Hickey Cat and Vedux, you're on board with Vedux at the moment as he makes his way to his pit crew. Goes for a set of mediums. They go on, and a front wing as well. So he had damage during that race. Not sure where he got it from, but Rico making every post a winner at the moment. He's scooting away. Zooming off into the distance, 1.7 seconds. Val on those 9-lap-old mediums. Looks like he might be slowly bringing that gap down. In fact, he's picked up 0.2 of a second through that section of the track. And now he'll be pushing very, very hard. Elmo still on those softs, making them work here on lap number 10. In fact, 2 drivers are on the softs, DJ Millsy and Elmo. They've obviously looked after their tyres in the early part of the race and puts DJ Millsy up into 6th spot. Running a little bit wide there is Elmo. He'll get a warning for that and goes to the pits, does he? Yep, Elmo coming in, and he's about to effect his first pit stop of the race. Now, does he get out in front of Hickey Cat and Vedux? That's the million-dollar question here. Cato coming into the pits as well. He's going to go for a set of new tyres. Elmo pulls into his pit garage. The Viking moves forward. Elmo moves forward. Hickey Cat moves forward. And a set of mediums this time around for Elmo, so another pit stop for him will be required as well. Rico's still out in front, those 10-lap-old mediums. They need to pit. So the Viking in 8th spot is the first of the pit stoppers in this race. So effectively, he will inherit the race lead. But does he need to come back in? Is he going to make those mediums go full distance? It's a long way to go. Will he have enough grip? You never know what's going on in the mind of the Viking. DJ Millsy still out there on those softs, the only runner to have not pitted on the soft strategy at this stage with 11 laps down. I'm sort of thinking he's probably going to come in this lap just to cover. Let's see what he does. A couple more turns to negotiate. Yep, dives to the pit lane. And also Oten's first of the medium runners into the pits. He's going for the undercut. Deku inherits 2nd spot. Val 3rd. Oten's 4th at this stage. He'll come out with Gears. In fact, Gears gets past. Rix gets past. And McLaren slowly making its way down pit lane. Back into 6th now. Hickey Cat goes past him. So those two are still going to be nose to tail, but on different strategies. Opens has gone for the hard tyres, Hickey Cat on the mediums. So different viewpoints. DJ Millsy hops off his softs in pit lane, whacks a set of mediums on. They could last to the end, but it'll be a stretch. Rico, 11 laps in the bank. His pace on those medium tyres will be a good indication to all other runners what you can basically expect from a medium tyre under these conditions here at Paul Ricard today. A fascinating circuit this. It's been on and off the calendar of Formula One a few times. Certainly plenty of runoff areas. Not impossible to hit a wall, but hard. And the Aussie dude has bowed out. He's retired from the race. As best I can tell, he didn't have a thump in with the wall. So not sure what's transpired there. On board with the Viking, with Hickey Cat trying to bridge the gap. There's Oden's right behind, keeping him honest, and Val as well in this mix. Elmo trying to get a bit of wriggle on. He's back there in ninth, but not in this DRS train at the moment. But he'll do everything he can to make amends, and there's the proof. 1:32.77, fastest lap of the race for Elmo. Charging. Squirting that DRS to try and get onto the back of this train. This 3, potentially 4, looking pretty strong. 5.6 seconds for Rico now. He's just streaking away from these runners. I think he'll continue on these mediums till Deku, the gap to Deku on those hard tyres starts to come down. While he's got an advantage, he'd be mad to come into the pits. And effectively, if he went to the wall, big overtaking manoeuvre there by V-Dux. I beg your pardon, Elmo on V-Dux, I meant to say. Was I right the first time? Could have been right the first time. Val, looks like he's fallen off the tail of Hickey Cat. Hickey Cat on those mediums starting to make them work now. And Val on the hards, unable to keep up in the DRS range. He's only fractionally out. We're right on board with him now. Now he gets back in the DRS range. Wow. Let's see if he can hold it through this final turn. Yep, gets his DRS. Well, he made that with the barest margin possible. But that's all you have to do, right? Val, fastest lap, 1:32.76. So he worked hard in the Alfa Romeo. On board with Drix, making his way through the left-right complex. This double right, you want to get on the gas, but if you do, the car will step out. He runs to the maximum length that he can. Now, does he get DRS? No, not close enough by any stretch of the imagination. The Viking right behind him on those mediums. 7 laps old, closing the gap. 14 laps completed. You can see Drix getting closer to the back of gears. He's right in the DRS range. He's very low on ERS. This battle still continues. These guys have been going at it since day one. And now Val is getting very, very racy. Up behind Hickey Cat. Tries to find a way past. Val was one of those drivers that said he was very confident. He said it via Cato, but I'm assuming that that's correct. Cato was saying that both he and Val, and teammates obviously, were very confident about their chances around this track. And Val's certainly mixing it at the moment. He's got Oates right behind in that DRS as well. But just can't find a way past Hickey Cat at the moment. Looks to the outside. Goes right around the outside into turn 1. And Hickey Cat not wanting to fight too hard for that by the looks of things. But that was a sneaky move. Well done to Val. Can he pull away? That's the million-dollar question. Hickey Cat on 5-lap-old mediums. Val on 3-lap-old hards. And Oates now. Oates all over the back of Hickey Cat. If those two get in a battle, that'll help Val sort of stretch his legs. But Oates not close enough. Hickey Cat in the slipstream. Val trying to break it. Here's the Viking up into 5th now. As I mentioned earlier, the first of the pit stoppers. And effectively will inherit the lead when the guys in front blink. But they haven't yet. It's like a 300-kilometre-hour game of chess, isn't it? Gas, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's track limits. The Viking into the final turn. What has he got? 3.2 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that gap. He's bringing it down quite quickly. Dare say he'd be using, no, he's got down to 11% ERS. That's not like the Viking. He's usually got a pretty good store there, but he's spamming it at the moment, which means he's very keen to get up onto the back of Drix Deku. Elmo's picked up a warning too. I beg your pardon, a penalty too. Elmo with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Now Rico not leading by a massive amount, 3.3, now 3.2. So it looks like those mediums have had their best, which is interesting, about 15 to 17 laps on the mediums around this circuit. So all of those that pitted for mediums, you're going to have to assume are going to hope for another pit stop. Really interesting at this circuit because safety cars are at a premium. You can't bank on safety cars. You need to work on strategy, but have your strategy so flexible that if something goes wrong or a safety car does come out, you're able to react. You're able to click into the next mode and come up with the right choice. Deku with a ton of ERS at the moment, so too Rico. Look at that, 76% at the moment. Now it looks like he may have stabilised the reduction in that gap to 3.2 seconds. He continues on as Val tries to stretch his legs. Hickey Cat still within DRS range, not letting him go, but they have dropped off Elmo and Oatens, who are now in a battle of their own. There's DJ Millsy with Caddo right behind him. These two are going to have a great dice, I would think. Now for Mayo up against the Haas. Val and Caddo able to close in the tight twisty sections. It should be perfect for DRS now. Let's see what he can do. Gets a nice run out of that turn. He squirted the DRS, but he didn't get DRS. It's not indicating on my screen that he did. Weird. Situation status quo though. Oatens now has Elmo, has got in front of Elmo, but Elmo all over the back of him. Caddo has a half look up the inside of DJ Millsy. Oh, now gets a run up the inside. They go side by side, treacherous times, but DJ Millsy just does not back out of it. Oh, and he's touched. He's tagged the back of DJ Millsy and he's spun himself around. Hopefully he hasn't received any nose cone damage, any wing damage up front. We'll soon see. Does he enter into the pits? Gares does. He's in for his second pit stop. Should be his final one of the race. And he's elected to go for medium tyres. Now Caddo does continue on, doesn't go into the pit, so didn't pick up any rear wing damage. It's a shame. That was turning into a great battle. DJ Millsy holding his own under massive pressure. GG. Rico's still out in front on these 17 old lap medium tyres. And he's pulled out that gap now, 3.8. It was 3.2 last time we investigated. So he's got this race well and truly in hand. Then Drix holding his own back there in third. He's got the Viking well within DRS range, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Viking gets really, really racy all of a sudden. Let's see what he can do this time around. Much better tyres, medium tyres with a bit more grip, plus they're newer. But whether they've reached their peak yet or not remains to be seen. Into the pits comes the race leader, Rico. What does he elect to do? Soft tyres. He's got to take those to the checkered flag. The Viking up into third, Val fourth, Hickey Cat, then Rico in sixth spot, with Elmo getting past him on the exit of pit lane. So well done to Elmo. 8 spots Rico needs to pick up in the remaining laps of this race. The Viking in a perfect spot. And Deku's still out on those 18-lap old tyres with Drix. Now, do they cover? That's the question. Do they cover? Rico has got nothing behind him, so they could do it. Big go now. The Viking, Ondrix, gets down the inside and runs a little bit wide. They go side by side through this section. Nice, clean racing. And that's brought Val straight into the equation. He gets a run on Drix as well. He moves up to third. Very calculative. Great driving by all. Drix has to come in. He has to come in. What does Deku do? Does he push it for another lap? Does he go for the softs? The Viking under pressure as Val tries to capitalise and make a way past. Can't do it. And none of them pitted. They've stayed out. Deku stayed out on those hards. Drix has stayed out on those hards. Val to the inside of the Viking into turn one. Gets the move done. Clean. Drix might be just happy to stay in their DRS zone range. Oden's with the 3-second penalty for corner cutting. Having a torrid time is our old Odens. Let's check them for you. The penalty, 6 seconds for Odens, 3 for Elmo, 3 for Gears, 5 for DJ Milsey, and Cato with a 3-second penalty as well. But up front, the drivers, clean racing at the moment. The Viking sticking with Val. He knows that's all he has to do. I'm sure he's got another pit stop. I'm sure of it. But you never know. He might have just taken care of those tyres. He might be able to take them to the end. Now, our race leader comes in, Deku. He blinks. 20 laps he took those hards to. 20 laps. If I'm a little bit quieter in today's commentary too, I should point out my neighbours weren't real happy with me after the last one, so I'm trying to modify it a little bit, which is hard because the racing's so good. That's the hard part. Yes, the Viking did come into the pits. Did come in for another pit stop. So Val goes to the race lead. Hickey Cat second. Rico back up to third on those softs. Then you've got Odens, Elmo, Deku, V-Dux, and Gears. Gears with the fastest lap, 1:32.070 for the Red Bull Honda. So he's starting to find some form now that he's got those mediums up to speed. Only a few laps left to go. Those softs of Rico's not only should be fast, but should last to the end of the race quite comfortably. As Hickey Cat comes under pressure now. Speaking of which, those softs working brilliantly for Rico Nosberg. He goes forward to second spot. And thanks again for sending that file forward about 1 a.m. in the morning too, brother. I really appreciate your dedication. Thank you. But Val at the moment, 9-lap-old hards. He's got a 2.9 second gap. Is it enough? Can he hold on? Drix, 3-second penalty, multiple warnings. That's exceeding track limits, and it takes his count to 6 seconds now. Deku on softs, he'll be on a charge. 1.8 to Elmo, and is closing that gap hand over fist. Elmo in DRS range at the moment of Otens on the hards, but they've got a very hard charging Deku closing in behind them. 2.4, the gap between Val and Rico up front. Hickey Cat out of DRS range now from Rico, can't hold on. And Otens almost back into DRS range of Hickey Cat for that final podium spot. Here's Deku, you're just following him because you know he's going to pounce. You know he's going to pounce. He's got DRS now. He's able to bridge that gap down. Brings it down by 4 tenths. was 0.8, then 0.4. They get a very good run out of this turn though and give themselves just a little bit of breathing space, but you can't help feel that it's lambs to the slaughter here. And right now, Elmo will be thinking, I've got to find a way past. I've got to get past Oates. But too late. The Huss with soft tyres right up behind. Deku gets a time penalty. A critical stage of the race for him. The guys in front have time penalties, but he needs to get past them. Brings it on to the start-finish straight. Gives you an idea how hard he was pushing over those laps. As we ride on board with Deku to the outside, through turn one, makes it work. Oh, slides it. Oh no, that is hugely disappointed. Was over-enthusiastic there with the accelerator. 1:30.693, fastest lap the Viking in 9th. He's charging forward. He's got a lot of work to do. 6.1 down off the back of the man we were just looking at. There he is on screen at the moment. He's got DJ Millsy right behind him, but he does have 2 lap old softs to play with. That will work to his advantage. Only a few laps left in this one. Gears. 5 lap old mediums. They should have the measure on Elmo in front of him, but the gap is 7 seconds. And V-Ducks, while his tyres might be a little bit older, will be able to hold off in DRS range, you would think, if he hasn't overused them. Rico closes the gap. It's down to 1.4, so this is the battle for the race lead. 11 lap old hards for Val, who's drove an exceptional race, it has to be said. Very calculative, hasn't overdone anything, but at the moment, a slightly better strategy from Rico, who's closing in. Speaking of which, Oates having an off-track excursion there, and side by side at the moment. Oh, look at these. Look at this 3. Hickey Cat, Elmo, Oates. All battling out the same piece of real estate. We're on board with Deco. Recovery mode. He's recovered quick. Yellow flag in sector 2. Oh no, Oates has had another off. Has had another off. Hickey Cat close enough to Elmo. Yes. 6 seconds further back down the track with Deku at the moment. It's a battle for the minor placings, but it's a tough battle. Gets a run on V-Ducks. He's got him. Just better grip. There was nothing V-Ducks could do about that. 14 old lap hards up against those new softs. And now, Deku sets his sight on gears. The Queenslander for Red Bull Racing. I can just imagine what's going through his mind at the moment. He is one funny dude. Oh, big off there for Oates. Running wide. I don't know if he's heading back to the pits. Maybe he's got some wing damage or something. We'll see if he pits this time around, because he was very, very wide there, and that looked more like an understeer wide than a miscalculation. No, he didn't. He's staying out. Just looking at the front wing, I can't see anything visible with it. But you can see the car is just all over the track at the moment as he tries to feed the power down. It's a tough day at the office on board the McLaren. Very tough day in the office. He has DJ Millsy and Brooks, certainly close enough to striking range. On board with Gears, who's all of a sudden found a bit of race. So too our battle up front. Val leads this by 0.4. Rico with those softs that would be getting close to the end of their upper limit of grip. They won't fall off a cliff dramatically, but they will start to fall off. So he sort of needs to get it done, and needs to get it done quickly. And you can see by the attitude of the car, he's not leaving anything in the garage. Within DRS range, start, finish straight. DRS opens. Doesn't use any of his push to pass. Thinks he can do it without, and he can, by the looks of things. Rico goes forward, takes the race lead away from Val in second spot. Elmo, another outstanding performance for him. Be up there in the top three, and he's got a 0.6 second gap over Hickey Cat. So those two are going to be working all the way down to the checkered flag as well. Can Rico pull away from Val? You'd have to think so. But we've seen stranger things. Drix back there in 10th spot, the final point scoring position. Closing in on Oaten's. You can see Rico with a run. Val had DRS and feinted to the inside to try and put Rico off his game. Certainly wasn't an overtaking attempt. He was a long way back unless he was going to torpedo it down the inside, which would have ended in disaster, you would think. But I tell you what, he's doing all right, keeping up. Fresh, used softs. We'll go with used softs up against very used hards. And this will be Val's plan. Stick with him, and if those softs go off, the race win will be mine. A good strategy, and he's making it work at the moment because Rico hasn't been able to pull away. But he's only got one more lap. They come down across the strike. Not much you can do about it this time around. We're on board with Caddo. Oakens, a big collision between the two. And it looks like they're both out, both DNFs. Final lap of the race, they came so close to the checkered flag, but not to be. Speaking of that checkered flag, he worked hard for it today. Previous round, lost the championship lead, but he's making every post a winner here today. Down across the back straight they come for the final time. Val, one more chance, he's close. Doesn't get the maneuver done. What can he do through this section of the track? First and second after 27 laps. Unable to put a gap in each other. You can see them weaving to try and break the slipstream. Rico knows what's at stake here. The championship lead up for grabs. Elmo back there in third. He may be able to hang on to it too. You don't know. A great dice going on. Val close enough to strike, but he's running out of time, he's running out of turns, and he's running out of luck. Onto the start, finish straight they'll come in just a few seconds' time through this last complex. All he has to do is hold on to it for one more turn, and it's a Mercedes Petronas victory. Rico Nosberg comes down across the line to take the checkered flag. A stunning drive from him. Brilliant too from Val, absolutely outstanding. Elmo continues his championship hunt, finishes in third, comes across the line, Viducks with a 5-second penalty, and puts Elmo back into fourth. Deku cares, Viducks, Drix, the Viking, DJ Millsy, and the three DNFs, Oaten's Cats, and the Aussie dude rounding out the field. Once again, apologies that the live stream didn't go to air. Some technical issues prevented that. The Smooth Machine will be back next time to do commentary. Thank you very much for joining us here today in the Schumacher series. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday for more racing action. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.